Alright, I am 100% sick of all the people who complain about my complaints about the Silver Eyes by saying they do not affect maidens. I have explained to many people in the comments and in a few videos, and usually people turn around and they say, oh, shit, that's a good point. But today, I'm just going to do a single video addressing the whole problem. Before I show the actual evidence, let me go through the arguments I've seen about these maiden powers and how they're affected by Silver Eyes. 1. It's stated that Silver Eyes only affect Grimm. 2. Maidens are not Grimm. 3. Salem never said it was the maiden power. 4. Salem was referring to the Grimm arm. 5. Salem was referring to how the maiden power was siphoned through a Grimm. 6. I don't like you, which is the same thing as you being objectively wrong. 7. Why would they affect the maidens when the God of Light is the reason Silver Eyes affect Grimm while he has no vendetta against Ozma and his maidens? 8. There's no evidence they do affect maidens. Alright, so before I demolish most of these, let me go through some of these and get rid of them off the bat. Maidens are not Grimm, that's true, but unimportant. If you don't like me, fine, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong. Now let's go to a clip that pretty much explains straight up why I say the Silver Eyes affect maidens.
The girl with the silver eyes.
Yes. We've dealt with their kind before. How is it a novice was able to best one of us?
My thoughts exactly. Even without her new power, it should have been effortless.
It is because of the Maiden's power. It is because of the Maiden's power. It is because of the Maiden's power. It is because of the Maiden's power.
So you see, the reason I think the Silver Eyes affect maidens is because Salem fucking states it outright! The conversation is Hazel asking how a silver-eyed warrior could best one of them. Obviously, the reasons he's saying that are because the Silver Eyes don't affect regular people, only Grimm. Watts is saying it should have been effortless, even though she, regardless of if she has the maiden power or not, it should have been effortless, and the maiden power should make it easier. But Salem's saying, no you fucking dipshit, it's because of the maiden's power. Now, if you're stupid, let's go through exactly what she could have been referring to. Maybe you're confused somehow. What things were they questioning that Salem can answer with because maiden? Hazel asked how a silver-eyed warrior could best one of them. That's the only question. That's the only thing she had to answer. The only other way you can interpret what he means when referring to how she could beat him is, how could a child beat her, or how could a moron beat her? It's really stupid to think that maidens are inherently weak to children or morons. Now people point to Crow saying Silver Eyes only affect Grimm. Crow says,
they were the best of the best. It was said that even a single look from one of these fighters could strike a Grimm down. It's a ridiculous story.
But
Maria also says they only activate around Grimm, and explains that in the vision from Jin that the Silver Eyes work how they do because of the God of Light, and he had them. But it's never exclusively stated they only affect Grimm, that's it, because it affected Cinder, who did not have Grimm in her. Yes, there is that beetle thing, but we have no evidence to suggest that that is just something she always has with her. It's only ever brought up in one scene, and it's never brought up again. And the effect that they use for it coming out is the same as the portal effect that they use in some other times. It's really strange, and it's kind of weird. Now, Salem did say, straight up, it was because of the maiden powers. She was not referring to the Grimm arm, both because she actively says it's because of the maiden, and because Cinder doesn't get the arm until after she gets obliterated by the Silver Eyes. Now, the idea that she siphoned it through a Grimm, it could work, but it's also kind of dumb when you consider that literally earlier in the day being, I'm referring to being when she gets hit with the Silver Eyes, she gets the full maiden power by killing Amber and getting it the way you're supposed to get it. People are fucking supposed to get it magically when a maiden dies, and that's what happens. Wouldn't it be weird if if that was the reason, and it was like, and Watts is like, even without her new powers, it should have been effortless. Well, actually, you fucking idiots, because she sucked those powers through a Grimm. Yeah, maybe a bit of an oversight. Oops. Maybe when she came across Amber and was looking straight at her, she should have just fucking offed her right there and then. Maybe that would have worked. Given, it works later, but it's not really important. You get it magically. Well, that's good enough. I just don't believe in magic. Are you fucking kidding me, mate? No, magic doesn't exist. What? And yeah, it's weird the God of Light would have eyes that affect maidens, but this could be considered just one of the many stupid things in RWBY. Who knows? It's just as stupid as if, because half of this power was siphoned through a Grimm, somehow that power is tainted. Does that mean every full maiden in the future is going to be tainted somehow? As for evidence, let's see all the times Silver Eyes have been used around Maiden. At the end of Volume 3, the end of Volume 7, and the Battle of Haven. In the Battle of Haven, Cinder holds a Grim arm and we never see how Raven responds, so we can't really say yes or no. At the end of Volume 7, Penny isn't affected, but there's two possible reasons. Cinder flew straight up and Ruby's blast actually wouldn't hurt her, or Penny and Cinder was doing a dumb... You don't know, maybe it was just a blast that wouldn't have hurt. And number 2, Penny's not exactly what I'd call a normal Maiden. Consider Penny doesn't actually have her own soul. Her soul is made of a portion of Pietro's. Penny is a sexless machine with an old man's soul. It's very strange she could get the Maiden power at all, seeing as Freya didn't give it to her directly. See, I mean, it's pretty obvious unless you're dumb. Freya just died and was thinking about Penny last, because that's who she wanted to get the powers. However, Penny's soul is a guy's, and guys can't get Maiden powers, especially not old guys. It's possible that Penny being so abnormal is making her resistant to the Silver Eyes. I know someone's going to go, well, Penny identifies as female, ergo, it works. But are you telling me that this magic is somehow able to identify the difference between the natural sex of someone, the natural sex gender of someone's soul and how they see themselves? Yeah, that's going to open up a fucking can of worms in the comments. Let's just not go into that. But also, the last possible reason, retcons. Rooster Teeth have retconned what the Silver Eyes can do, and this is extremely likely because of Volume 6. 3 volumes after it was introduced and this happened to Cinder, and 2 volumes after Salem said that, it was explained that the God of Light is the reason the Silver Eyes work the way they do. So, because that is a bit more incongruent with what we've already seen happen, it's very likely that Rooster Teeth retconned it. That's not a defense of Rooster Teeth, it is a problem with the show. Retcons are not explanations, they are excuses. But you could say it's because Rooster Teeth retconned it. Keep in mind, that is not a defense, but it is a fairly understandable reason if you want to say, no, the Silver Eyes don't affect Maidens because Rooster Teeth have retconned that information. That, I will say, is fair, and I didn't include that at the start because I didn't want to include that explanation with all the stupid ones. I wanted to include it with ones that made sense, and that's the main one I understand that I could see. Repeating it for the dense people out there, Salem directly says, and I mean literally saying, straight up, it is because of the Maiden's power that Cinder lost to Ruby. Ruby at the time blasting her with the Silver Eyes. You would have to stretch like elongated Monkey D Plastic Fantastic Girl to say she meant anything else, because her statement, if it was referring to anything except the direct Maiden power, is too vague. It is the most direct statement you could get. It is because of the Maiden powers. It is because of the Maiden's power. That is the quote. How the fuck could you take that quote and say, well, what she meant was, it's because she siphoned it through a Grim, and the fact that she got the second half doesn't matter. And let's keep in mind, I did that timeline video, and I already established at least 3 months passed between when she got the first half and when she got the second half. What refers to the power as new?
Even without her new power, it should have been effortless.
Why would she refer to a 3-month-old power as new unless he was referring to the fact that she just got the other half of it recently? Which means it means even more likely she was referring to that, and less likely the Grim siphoning it. Case closed! I'm sick of everyone like, it doesn't actually do that. Salem never said that. Here's the clip again!
The girl with the silver eyes.
Yes. We've dealt with their gun before. How is it a novice was able to best one of us?
My thoughts exactly. Even without her new power, it should have been effortless.
It is because of the Maiden's power.
Oh, and it's not just that Silver Eyes hurt humans as much as Grim, because here everyone survives without injury, while the apathy fucking vaporized, mate. And nobody else in the Battle of Haven is harmed, and Winter and Weiss are completely fine from this too. Take that, RWBY vs. Ragnar, you absolute shit piece! Okay, so less editing here, because this is purely something I'm adding after the fact, just to address the whole, it's because of the beetle thing. I already said why I don't like that, as Salem doesn't say that at all. You're stretching really far to say that's what she meant. An equivalent example would be, imagine you have a 100% normal human who's also bald. They take a pill that grows half of their hair back and then also makes them very susceptible to a specific form of radiation that normally can't hurt anyone but a couple of animals. Then the rest of their hair grows back normally. If they were to get hurt by that radiation, and you asked, why did you get hurt? Would the correct answer from them be, because the pill made me susceptible to it, or because I have hair? Let's suggest what this would mean for the scene if that interpretation is true. It would make this scene a crowning example of why Rooster Teeth's no solid rules, doing it as we go along, world building is hard so I'm not going to try, work model, is dumb. Because Salem is objectively 100% incorrect in her answer. The maiden powers have 0% to do with it. And I know what you're thinking, well of course they do with it, it's because she has the maiden powers that, oh wait, yeah, I'm saying that it's not because of the maiden powers, I'm saying it's because of the Grimm. Here are two situations alternative to what we have. Let's say the Grimm is meant to do something unrelated to the maidens. Let's say the beetle is with her because it being there allows her to take the most spectacular shit every day. If RWBY hit her with the Silver Eyes, it would affect her just as much. It would do the same amount of damage, and the equivalent Salem quote to this would be, "It is because she had such a good dump every day." The alternative has both less and more shit in it. Less because there's no poop beetle, and more because this one involves RWBY. Imagine RWBY goes back in time to before Cinder got the maiden powers, but after the beetle got there. RWBY then hits Cinder with the Silver Eyes. By this logic, Cinder would still be hurt, even though she has 0 maiden powers in her right now. She would still be hurt just as much. So Salem is just objectively wrong, meaning she's lying to Watts for no reason, or she's just stupid, which given she is written by Miles and Kerry, I'm willing to believe. This also brings up a problem as the beetle has only appeared once in the entire series, very briefly, and there's no evidence that it's even part of Cinder. Not only does Cinder summon it out of a glove, and not out of her own skin, but it also clearly doesn't emerge from within the glove, a portal opens that sends it out, but okay, the glove fades away and she gets a sick tramp stamp. Let's say that this means the fusion happened, the Grimm and her fused. If that's the case, why did her left eye get hurt? You'd think if it's from the Grimm, it would either hurt her back where the mark is, or the arm where it melded into her, or her right eye. In the, to my knowledge, 2 times we've seen her activate the flaming eye thing before she gets the full maiden powers, it only works on her right eye. This makes sense, she's only half a maiden. But then why does RWBY Silver Eyes fuck up her left eye? That's the one that got power from the maiden the normal way. Like, did they just forget which eye Cinder has the lights? Oh, okay, yeah, they probably did just forget. I feel like I know more about this series than Miles and Kerry, and those guys are the ones making the next volume. So essentially, with this in mind, there are 3 real answers to this question. 1, the Silver Eyes do affect maidens, and every time we've seen them used without hurting a maiden is an example of negligent writing. 2, the Silver Eyes don't affect maidens, and this is an awfully misleading and extremely badly written scene. And 3, Silver Eyes used to affect maidens, but it was retconned in the volume after. This one is, to my knowledge, the most likely, keeping in mind maidens were never a part of the series until after volume 2. They did 2 volumes, and then the maidens were brought up, and I think it's in the volume 3 commentary, they state that they invented the maidens between 2 and 3. And considering the maidens are by far the second most important plot point behind the relics, that fucking says something about how little they had planned ahead around the times of volume 3. Alright, I'm done.